on, you guys? It's Royce Jacob. Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to Crypto Convo, series I make whenever I feel it's necessary, where we cover some exciting news and price action in the land of cryptocurrencies as well as some crypto related stocks. So as always, we'll go over each topic that we're going to be discussing, then we'll dive into each one individually. In front of us, the usual, you know how we kick these off. We'll take a look at Bitcoin, let you guys know what I'm thinking in terms of future potential price action. We also have some very exciting news to look at to go along with Bitcoin. Actually, we'll take a look at this chart real quick. This is how I want to kind of set the precedent for this video. You guys know I'm bullish on Bitcoin. This is just a very simple chart showing you the days in Bitcoin's short 10-year history that you would be profitable to this date if you had bought Bitcoin in the past. Okay, so just a hint, it's almost 98% of the time since the conception of Bitcoin that you'd be profitable if you had bought at any point in Bitcoin's history. Okay, so again, just setting a green tone for this video. We will then move on to some actually super bullish news. Fundamentally, Fidelity chief strategist starts Bitcoin index fund. So Fidelity, investment giants, titan of industry within the investment landscape. You guys have definitely heard of them, I assume. So, I mean, this is huge. Fidelity's doing a really good job on the institutional side of really pioneering Bitcoin, and them starting a Bitcoin index fund. I mean, you can't look past that. That's huge news. On that same token, Fidelity, I mean, just Bitcoin bulls. They're even bigger Bitcoin bulls than I am, maybe. Asset giant Fidelity analyzes a model that forecasts Bitcoin to rise to $1 million. So I want to make this clear right off the bat that they didn't actually say, they don't actually think themselves that this will happen, but they did analyze it in a very long report that they made on Bitcoin. And this is the stock to flow model. If you guys aren't familiar, I've talked about it on the channel here a few times, but they looked at the stock to flow model. We'll read a little bit about this. Just super bullish that such again, a titan of industry is taking such notice to Bitcoin and really taking action and taking necessary steps to mass adoption. All right. So along with that, we will then take a look at Mara and Riot. You guys know the deal. It's probably in the title somewhere. So we'll take a look at some good news on both Mara and Riot. So Marathon Patent buys Fastblock Mining in an all-stock transaction. This didn't actually happen yet. This is not set in stone yet, but it's looking pretty good. So we'll cover this. Very bullish news for Mara. And then Bitmain Inc.'s $18 million Bitcoin mining rig sale with Riot blockchain. So we did cover this pretty recently. This is a newer article. So just August 25th, this was released. This is kind of old news, a little kind of updated news, but still very bullish fundamentally for Riot. And that's the main thing, you guys. I mean, I do give you guys kind of my general take on the somewhat short, more medium term time frame, but you guys know I'm super long on all these, and I just want to remind you that before we get into it, I'm so bullish long term on all of these that the short term really doesn't mean much. I know you guys are interested in that, and I am as well. It doesn't stress me out as much, I'll say that, but I'll still give you guys my take, let you guys know what I'm thinking. As always, you guys, whatever I say in this video could absolutely not play out. The exact opposite of what I say could happen. I don't know. I'm just doing my best, okay? So before we get into it, I will ask you guys to please give the video a like if you do want to gain value from it, or if you're invested in any of the assets we're talking about today. Subscribe to the channel if you're new around here, and check out my complete portfolio and daily newsletter. First link in the description if you want to know my exact positions in some of these cryptos, some of my call options and whatnot in the stocks we're talking about, and get a daily newsletter from me every market hours, or every trading day during market hours, sorry. So yeah, check that out. First link in the description if you're interested. If not, no worries. Let's get into this. All right. So Bitcoin on TradingView, once again, we always have to kick it off with Bitcoin just because pretty much the entire rest of this sector does rely on the movement of Bitcoin to a certain extent. Not always, you guys, remember that, not always, but if Bitcoin's doing well, it usually means that the rest will do well and vice versa, okay? So unfortunately, as always, on the 4-hour time frame, that is how I will look at all these charts, except for Mara and Riot probably, just because those are a little more volatile. But 4 hours, you guys know that's how I like to look at charts when I'm determining my medium to long-term outlooks. Okay, so Bitcoin, unfortunately, began the pullback beginning August 17th. It is currently in a downtrend. So just real short to sum it up, Bitcoin will have to break out of this short-term downtrend for me to once again become short-term bullish on it. What could potentially happen? Okay, so there's two scenarios that I think are likely to play out. And you guys remember, the short term means almost nothing to me. I'm just being realistic and letting you guys know what I'm seeing from a just rational and technical perspective, okay? So again, it would need to break out of this downtrend that it has began since August 17th. If it breaks out of that, I think it will once again continue the uptrend, just set that higher low, and then continue to the upside. Medium, not worst case scenario, this red one's worst case scenario, which I'll talk about after this orange one, which is medium. Still bummer, but not too bad. As we see a correction down to this line of support down here around just the $10,400 region. If we zoom out, we'll go to the daily right now. Oh, no, sorry, that's okay. Here, let's go to the daily. There we go. Idiot. Okay, so we'll go to the daily here. Looks a little wild. Okay, so Bitcoin, as you can see here, since the beginning of this year has used this $10,400 region a few times. Once it broke out, that's when we saw that significant breakout to the upside, but it has used this area as a pretty solid line of resistance in the past, just this year. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a pullback down to those levels of the previous highs. You guys know that what was once resistance can now be used as support. So I wouldn't be surprised to see it pull back to, and you guys remember this is a pretty significant pullback, but this is, if you are involved in this game, and if you're new to this game, I should say, then this is something you just have to expect. This is just a part of being involved in this sector, in such a revolutionary sector this early, okay? So volatility is a feature, not a bug. Remember that. All right, so I wouldn't be surprised to see a pullback to the 10.4K region. That's the medium case scenario, after which we will probably just continue to the upside. You guys know, I'll just say this right now, I'm still holding strong. It might be pushed back a little. I was saying mid-September to early October. Now it might be like later September to mid-October, okay? Give or take. I think by the end of October, we will see a $15,000 plus Bitcoin. Where exactly it'll be, I don't know. I just feel that we will see a $15,000 plus Bitcoin. And again, this is due to these multiple trend lines I have in place. Okay, so we'll finish on the optimistic news on those final price targets to the upside. But I want to go over with you guys the worst case scenario, which would be that we go down all the way back to what we broke out at, which is actually what signaled that initial breakout back at the end of July, when we officially confirmed this second phase of the second bull market in Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, in my opinion, as well as many others, is when we broke the multi-year downtrend. Okay, so that's what this line is right here. We'll zoom out so you guys can see what I'm talking about here. Sorry, there's a lot of lines here, but they all hold some semblance of importance in my eyes, so that's why they're there. All right, so this multi-year downtrend, once again, you can see here from the 2017 peak when Bitcoin peaked out at about 20K, down here, it's been in a multi-year downtrend, okay? And it just broke that back in late July. Like I said, that was the catalyst. If you guys have been around, you know I was super stoked. I was amping on that, as was the rest of the crypto community. So I mean, that's great news for Bitcoin, obviously, that it broke out. Worst case scenario, which, again, I wouldn't be completely surprised. It is a bummer, you guys, in the short term. Red days always suck, you know the deal. But I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be completely surprised to see it come and bounce off this line of, again, what was once resistance, now use it as support, and then just continue the uptrend. Okay, so whatever plays out, I think Bitcoin will ultimately continue the uptrend. Again, I do still think that this line of resistance, which is definitely an uptrend, as well as maybe this one has a lot less validity to it, just from a technical perspective. There's a lot less points of reference to use for this uptrend lines, but this one is looking solid. I wouldn't be surprised to see it once again. Bitcoin at some point in the future, again, might not even be October, might be next year, I don't know, but at some point in the future, once again, retest this uptrend line, just because this is a pretty solid trend line, and once again, test this line of resistance on an uptrend. Ultimately, you guys, I think it's trending up. Let's look into these. Some of these charts and articles to just kind of back that bullish technical perspective. Okay, so once again, Bitcoin profitable days. This is a look into Bitcoin. This is a great website. You guys check them out. They just have some super simple but super insightful Bitcoin charts, really easy to look at layout. So again, Bitcoin profitable days. Another super important thing to remember, you guys, is it's still so early for Bitcoin. Bitcoin, again, just created like just about 10 years ago. Okay, so it's a decade old. It's younger than I can guarantee pretty much all of you watching, right? Unless I have some shout out to all my 10-year-olds out there, if you guys are just getting into the trading game early, starting me young, eh? But you guys know the deal. Bitcoin, I mean, probably half the majority of our ages, over half, and it's still such a young asset. And the fact that it's stayed so steady around $10,000, with so much of the world not even really understanding what Bitcoin is yet. Like, if you're into Bitcoin right now, it may seem like you're a little late to the game, but trust me, you're early. Most of the world still thinks this is funny money, still thinks it's like cartel money and whatnot, like crazy crypto hacker, digital internet money, which, I mean, where its roots, and there is reasons for, I understand why people believe that, but they're just not educated yet. And that's the biggest thing, is just education on the topic. And just remember, the majority of the world still is not educated on Bitcoin, and there's still so much growth ahead in my mind. That's the biggest thing. It's just once people understand Bitcoin and the potential of it, especially in this macroeconomic environment, that is like the real catalyst towards pushing Bitcoin to the moon. All right. But just looking at this, you guys, like, look at this. Bitcoin was once at, if you can move this, I mean, Bitcoin realistically was at 1 cent at one point. Like that's how it started out. Like Bitcoin, like a lot of other coins in the landscape right now, we're at 1 cent, and that's super important to remember. Now it's at 10K, just like casually floating around 10K. All right, and just looking at this, just like you can't look at this and not think it's going to keep going up. It's still very obviously in an uptrend. Remember, the bigger it gets, the bigger the market cap gets, the less volatile it gets. So it's unlikely to see crazy price action like this. But again, with all the fundamentals surrounding it right now, I wouldn't be surprised. But again, I'm just so bullish on Bitcoin, you guys. Total number of days 3,600. Number of days profitable 3,570. Okay, so 3,660 total, 3,570 profitable. 98% of the time, you would be profitable if you had bought at 98% of the time in Bitcoin's history. You would have been profitable at this point right now if you'd bought. Obviously, aside from buying the tops, that happens to a lot of people. That's when a lot of people do get in, and that's the sad thing, but that's the game, okay? So just hold, just stay strong hands. I always preach it, but it's so much truer in Bitcoin. Bitcoin's really what taught me that characteristic and just that character trait of having strong hands and really just holding through the tough times. Okay, so that said, let's get on to this great news. So Fidelity Investment chief strategist is heading a new Bitcoin index fund that appears to be Wall Street's latest play for high dollar institutional crypto bets. Wise Origin Bitcoin Index Fund LP has a $100,000 minimum buy-in and a high-end ranking executive officer to boot. Peter Jubber, head of strategy and planning for the increasingly crypto-friendly investment giant Fidelity, disclosed in a Wednesday morning filing with the SEC. The fund is the latest example of Wall Street veterans warming up to Bitcoin. Fidelity, one of the largest mutual fund firms in the U.S., is also leading the street in Bitcoin research and services. So yeah, Bitcoin, titan of industry. You guys all know Fidelity. I have to assume so. The fact that they're so bullish on Bitcoin and they're getting on Bitcoin and they're really pioneering Bitcoin. And again, you can see that they're one of others on the street. If you guys remember a few months back when Paul Tudor Jones, one of the Mount Rushmores of investing, one of the largest hedge funds in the world currently, stated that he thinks Bitcoin is the fastest horse in the race right now as opposed to gold in the fight of inflation. When the government's printing trillions of dollars, you want that deflationary asset, that hard money, scarce asset, and he thinks Bitcoin is a better choice than gold in that regard, and that's a huge deal for such a legend in the investment game to say that, okay, especially with such a new, exciting, revolutionary asset. Okay, so that's good. Let's move on to this, and then we'll take a quick look at Ethereum and chainlink on the chart, and then we'll get into Mara and Riot. So asset giant Fidelity analyzed a model that forecasts Bitcoin rise to $1 million. I'll just read you guys. I couldn't correctly highlight this, so I just bootlegged it. You guys get the deal. The trillion-dollar asset manager Fidelity is scrutinizing popular and controversial Bitcoin price model. A recent report from Fidelity Digital Assets analyzes the stock-to-flow ratio, which divides the amount of commodity in circulation by the amount mined per year. Using the correlation between an asset's price and its stock-to-flow ratio, the pseudonymous, sorry about that, crypto analyst Plan B has predicted that Bitcoin's value will soar to $1 million by 2029. Although there is a fierce debate on whether the stock-to-flow ratio is an accurate way to forecast Bitcoin's trajectory, Fidelity says the model is a credible tool for analyzing scarce assets. The firm says historically the metric is a sound way to judge whether a given commodity will become a successful store of value. So again, remember you guys, like I mentioned in the beginning, Fidelity didn't actually say that Bitcoin was going to reach $1 million. They just analyzed the stock to flow ratio. Again, brought it up many times in these crypto combos, in my crypto Bitcoin videos. It's a very well known, very credible, to be honest, chart in the crypto landscape. Go check it out if you're not familiar. We're not going to look at it here, but stock to flow ratio crypto, it looks pretty good. And again, it's been used historically to gauge the price performance of gold and silver, and has done pretty well at predicting valuations. Okay, and again, I wouldn't be surprised to see it myself. 10 years from now, a $1 million Bitcoin is not. I mean, that's the reason I always say this is the most. I think this is the most. If I could buy one, like, set it and forget it asset and just leave the game forever, leave the trading game forever, just buy one single asset, take a huge position, and never look back, it'd be Bitcoin. I think it's the most generally. I think it has the most asymmetric risk. I think it is truly the single asset that will create the most generational wealth in our lifetime. Okay, so that said, you guys know the deal. What's going on here? Come on. Again, you guys, I think it will once again reach this uptrend. If this plays out correctly, October 25th, October 26th, we'll see a 19.5K Bitcoin. remember, you guys, absolutely could not play out. This thing could tank. But I truly do think worst case scenario is we pull back to the $9,400 region. Use that line that was once resistance on the macro scale, the multi-year macro scale, so very macro scale. Once was resistance as a line of support, and that's just TA 101 right there. That's technical analysis 101. Okay, if it does pull back to there, I'm loading up. I'm getting a fat bag of Bitcoin at the $9,500 level. Okay, so just know that for fun. End of October, 20K Bitcoin. Let's see if it happens. All right, let's move on to ETH quick. I'll let you guys know what I'm thinking here. So ETH, I mean, just following this general, again, since the March low, since the liquidity crisis, ETH has just been following a pretty steady channel up, aside from little discrepancies, or here, definitely here, but here as well. I think this is a pretty conservative upward channel, and I think it'll probably bounce around within this channel. Bullish side, it bounces off this trend line around the 370 region, and then moves up to the top side. I think it's very tradable if you are day trading. I'm not personally. With this, all of this, know this. I can't say it enough. I'm set it and forget it. I'm not trying to day trade these. I'm holding them. I will swing trade them, so I'll do like bi-weekly or sometimes multi-week, multi-month trades, but I'm not day trading these for sure. But I mean, I think if Ethereum is likely to stay within this channel unless something bad happens. Again, even Ethereum is seeing great news. I will cover some news in regard to Consensus acquiring JP Morgan's Ethereum assets. So it's kind of hard to explain just without looking at the article itself, but huge news for Ethereum. I'll cover that in the Waves Weekly this weekend. I was going to cover it today, but there's just too much to cover today, and I knew I was going to ramble on about this stuff already. So I'll save that for Saturday. Just tune in for that. All right. Anyway, so this is best case scenario is it follows the channel, and then ultimately if Bitcoin does well, it'll break to the upside. Again, Ethereum similar to Bitcoin. I wouldn't be surprised to see a multi-$1,000 Ethereum by the end of this next bull market, which who knows when it is, but I think it's going to happen within the next year. Worst case scenario is we see a short-term pullback. It plays out a head and shoulders, which you guys can kind of see here. It would be a pretty significant head and shoulders if this does play out. So you can see left shoulder, head. If it does capitulate, if it continues to go sideways and pulls back and breaks below this trend line, I wouldn't be surprised at all if it comes down to at least like the $315 region around this area. Worst case scenario is it comes back down to this area where it spent a lot of time over the course of June and July, around the $250 region. Remember, you guys, Ethereum did run up significantly more than Bitcoin. It is up significantly more percentage-wise than Bitcoin right now. So a little more significant of a pullback in Ethereum wouldn't surprise me much. But you guys, like, the tech sector is on fire right now. Tech is hot. Blockchain is hot. And I'm more bullish. You guys know I'm bullish on all of this fundamentally, blockchain, crypto, Bitcoin specifically. But just being real, just from a technical perspective, worst case scenario is we see a pullback to the $250 region, similar to Bitcoin. If it pulls back to 95, if Ethereum pulls back to 250, I'm increasing my position significantly. All right, so let's move on to Link quickly, and then we'll move on to Mara and Riot. So Link, just straight up, hey, you guys, did I mention that Link is the first investment focused video that I ever made? Go check it out if you want to hear me sound stupid. All right. Okay, but Link, I mean, obviously we've seen a crazy run up. Link has gone absolutely parabolic. This is what a bubble looks like. This is what you can expect when like the actual bull run initiates in the rest of the market. So Link saw this crazy move up. We're seeing some capitulation. You guys, again, you guys know that if you've been tuned into the channel, this is not an uncommon sight by any means to you. You see the run up. Luckily, it caught it before this run up. And you see the bubble pop, you see some capitulation. What I'm seeing here, though, is a bull flag. And you know we love bull flags on this channel. We'll see if it does play out as a bull flag. This is kind of a janky bull flag, but it does look like a bull flag to me. So, again, you see the flagpole right here. You see this descending triangle, descending wedgy-looking thing. More of a descending triangle, not really a descending wedge. But this is kind of a weird-looking bull flag, but I wouldn't be surprised with all the hype around the sector right now. You still see pretty good volume, obviously lower than it has been, but still pretty decent volume here. I wouldn't be surprised to see it, and this will be decided within the next few trading days. If Link breaks out of this bull flag, if it is a bull flag, and continues to the upside and just keeps ripping, so that could definitely happen. We've already seen a decent correction from 20 down to 15, so solid 25% correction. Again, not uncommon, you guys. So, like, I mean, if you guys are in this sector, be prepared for some volatility, and just practice patience, practice strong hands if you truly believe in the fundamentals and the technology behind these companies, or behind these assets, I should say. Okay, so that's Link. We'll see if that plays out. That's interesting. For full transparency, I did reduce my link pretty significantly. I caught the top pretty well on this when I traded out to some different cryptocurrencies. Once again, if you want to know exactly what those are, exactly what those trades were, check out the complete portfolio. But again, we'll see if this plays out. It'll be fun to see if it plays out. I'm not too worried because, again, I think similar to almost Bitcoin and Ethereum, not so much a lot of the other cryptos out there. I don't know if a lot of you have heard about polkadot, but if you have, the reason I'm not covering it, it's like the hypest thing in the crypto sector right now. The reason I'm not covering it is because I don't care about it at all. Okay, I'm not investing in it. I'm not playing that. Chainlink is an Oracle solution. I think it actually has value. Polkadot is from what I've read, I'm not super educated on it by any means, and I'm not going to pretend to be. But from the little bits I've read on it, and obviously due to the hype, I'm not impressed by the tech side of it, and I think it's a hype coin, okay? But it's still been ripping, and congratulations if you caught it early and made a good trade out of it. All right, so that said, let's move on to Mara and Riot to close this thing off. So start off with Mara. As always, you guys cover the fundamentals first. I didn't do that with Bitcoin. I switch around sometimes, but I try to cover the news first. All right, so Marathon Patent buys Fastblock Mining in an all-stock transaction. Marathon Patent, Mara shares rise 6.2% in pre-market. It did capitulate over the course of the day. It did slow down, which is interesting. That happened to Sorrento too. Sorry, it's not Sorrento. I know Sorrento isn't a crypto, but if you guys are tuned in the channel, you would know that as well. In pre-market, after it executed a letter of intent to acquire Fastblock Mining for 8.7 million shares. Once the transaction closes, the company's cost to mine Bitcoin will decline from 7,400 to 3,600 Bitcoin due to the lower than industry standard electricity cost of 0.02 cents pretty much per kilowatt. Okay, so that is huge. You're cutting your costs in half if you can do that, and obviously with a $10,000 plus Bitcoin, that is very profitable. Okay, so great news for Mara. Profitability. Who doesn't love some profitability, especially in a company that you're invested in? Marathon will also acquire 3,300 ASIC miners from Fastblock's customers, which will increase its deployed ASICs from 2,000 to 5,300 miners. Okay, so significantly increasing their operations. This is great news. This is what I like to see. I did mention this in the newsletter. Just news like this, and along with the Riot news that we're about to cover as well, is just so bullish because I get you guys. I've been following these miners for a long time, literally since 2017. There's been a lot of shady antics going on with them over the past couple of years, but 2020 specifically, like, these guys are really making the effort and really taking the necessary steps towards expanding operations, legitimizing themselves as a business, and becoming profitable. Because again, with industries this new, this revolutionary, this fresh, companies this young, it's not surprising that they're kind of bleeding cash at this moment, but they're actually like laying the framework towards a path to profitability, and that profitability is coming super soon, and their operations are expanding significantly. And again, if the price of Bitcoin goes up and skyrockets, then these guys are very valuable companies, which is what I'm betting on. Always know that, you guys. My money's on what I'm saying. Fastblock Mining, let's get to know these guys a little bit, was established in 2014 and is managed mining as a service business and managed 20 data centers, having mined over 50,000 Bitcoin. Bernardo Schumann, Fastblock CEO and co-founder, will stay on the combined company, and become head of mining operations. Okay, so this is good, you guys. Again, just expanding the operations, expanding the team. This guy obviously knows what he's doing. He's competent in the mining space, and you want someone who's competent and experienced in mining on your team. 2 mines are always better than 1. Expanding the team, more mines are better than a few, of course. So, I mean, obvious, but just again, you guys, it reinforces my bullish beliefs that I already had on these companies that much more, that they're actually taking these very tangible, very solid steps towards becoming better companies. Okay, so we'll cover this Riot news as well, and then we'll just go straight into Mara and Riot. All right. So Bitmoin Inc.'s $18 million Bitcoin mining rig sale with Riot Blockchain. Major cryptocurrency mining hardware manufacturer Bitmain is making a major sale to Riot Blockchain, a NASDAQ-listed crypto mining company. According to an August 24th announcement, the firm signed a $17.7 million purchase agreement for 8,000 Bitmain Antminer S19 Pros that includes a delivery schedule of 2,000 units on a monthly basis starting January 2021 until the order is complete. Okay, so again, we did cover this before. It's just good to reiterate this because this is objectively very bullish news. Again, this isn't overnight. The progress that the impact that this will have, I should say, is not going to happen overnight. That's obvious. Again, they're going to start rolling out these miners starting January 2021 for 4 months until like 2,000 a month, until that $8,000 miner order is complete. Okay, so huge deal. again, you can't just these guys can't just pop out 8,000 miners. That is why it has to be kind of in advance. But I mean, great news. Again, they're just expanding their operations. They're taking the necessary steps that any good company needs to expand and become a better company overall. So I'm just super bullish, so bullish long term on Mara and Riot. Short term, I mean, we'll take a look at Mara on, let's go to the 1 hour on Mara, okay? It makes it a little easier to look at. So Mara, as you can see here, saw such a significant pullback. I personally can't see Mara going any lower than this. It did bounce off this initial high that it set prior to the gap up. So it did close out this gap completely. Mara is still technically in a downtrend. So as you can see here, since it popped in the beginning, so August 6th, the bubble that was Mara did kind of pop a little bit temporarily, of course, for the short term. You have to expect it. So it is still in a downtrend. It is going to need to break above this level over the course of the next few days for me to get bullish. It is kind of creating this descending wedge pattern, this descending triangle pattern. Which is pretty bearish, but I can't imagine it goes lower. If it does, 180 is my absolute bottom price target for Mara. So hopefully that doesn't happen. It might. You guys just always keep that in mind. Always keep the worst case scenarios in mind. But if it does break out of this downtrend, so this line, it would have to break around. If it crosses the $250 mark, then I'm once again. Wait, no, Mara's currently at. No, it's currently at 250. Okay, it has to break. Sorry. It depends when it breaks out of it, of course. So if it just stays stagnant for the next few days, then I think we'll see the uptrend continue. If it breaks, we're talking tomorrow, if it breaks 275 tomorrow or something like that. You guys can see as I'm moving my cursor along the line here. But you guys get the point. You guys can draw, always recommend you guys go draw these on your own charts, make your own trend lines and whatnot. But again, if it breaks this downtrend, I'm bullish short term, I'm bullish medium term, I'm bullish long term. And if Bitcoin does succeed this applies to Riot as well, if Bitcoin does succeed to hit that $15,000 plus kind of benchmark I've set for it by the end of October, I'm expecting these guys to hit my kind of medium term price levels for them. So my medium term price target for Mara personally is the $750 region. Keep in mind, you guys, Mara and Riot, Mara specifically is so tiny still, $81 million market cap. I'm just so freaking bullish on Mara. Like, this is such just a diamond. This is such a gem. There's so much asymmetric return potential here in my eyes. That is why it's one of my largest positions. So, super bullish on Mara. Again, we'll see what happens here. This is a little on a shorter term time horizon, so I don't think. It could very well. You guys never know with the downs comes up. This is such a volatile sector that maybe by the end of September that we do see Bitcoin breakout, Mara breakout, Riot breakout. I don't know, but I do think at some point my medium term, my short to medium term price target for Mara, just to sum this up, is about 750. You guys, I can't tell you what's going to happen on the way there. I do though expect once we bounce, because you always see with just moves like this, it's not uncommon to see a bounce back up to like the middle ground. Definitely not the previous highs, but I do think that'll happen eventually. But a pretty quick bounce I'm expecting to this middle ground area around like the $4 region. Okay, so I'm expecting to see a $4 Mara pretty soon here, and then again over the more medium term time frame, maybe a $7.50 Mara, and that is my medium term price target. All right, let's finish it off with good old Riot. Our boy Riot. Okay, so I have no arrows drawn here, and that's because I don't really know what's going to play out with Riot. I'm just going to let you guys know what I'm looking at right now. Okay, so Riot, similar to Mara, again, they both popped. Riot later than Mara. Okay, so Riot popped. It did bounce pretty significantly, so it also pulled back, similar to Mara, around August 6th. But, Riot did see a significant bounce, so it almost doubled top tier, which is interesting. It is, though, once again in a downtrend. Let's hope that this is a higher low, because it technically did set a higher low if it does continue to go up. But on the short-term time frames, you can see since August 17th, Riot is also in a downtrend, really dancing this line. So this is a very strong line of resistance right here on this downtrend line. And if it breaks above here, which won't be hard, if Riot is in the green tomorrow, I wouldn't be surprised to see it break out, maybe use this line as resistance that was once support. So this line of support could now be, you guys know the deal, used as resistance, vice versa. That's another just TA 101 right there. So I wouldn't be surprised to use this line maybe as resistance, bounce off this line for a few days, then break out to the upside once again, and hopefully set a new high. And that way we seal that that higher low and then a higher high if it breaks above it. You guys know I can't say it enough. You guys know how freaking bullish I am on these right now. Almost irresponsibly bullish. I've been saying that in the newsletter. But I wouldn't be surprised. Again, you guys, just price targets. I did expand this one out a little bit. No matter what happens on the daily, no matter what happens this week, next week, I do still think that, again, by mid-October, by the end of October, Riot will ultimately test this very powerful, this very strong uptrend, this line of resistance that it was setting when it first started taking off back in May, June. That would bring it to mid-October. That'd be about an $8 Riot. That sounds about right to me. Ultimate high, if it does choose to just go parabolic again and retest this newer uptrend, which is a lot steeper. But I mean, again, I wouldn't be surprised. Riot currently at like 120. Oh, 160. So significantly bigger than Mara still. I mean, but I personally think still, even after this Mara news, that Riot is a better company with a brighter future ahead of it. Although even today I did balance out my Riot and Mara positions for the most part, just considering I'm super bullish on both now. But I mean, great news for Riot and Mara. I'm still super bullish, and I do think that, again, this is very optimistic. If it breaks above this line, I'll probably consider reducing some of my position if it does test this trend line. But again, you guys, depending on how Bitcoin performs, it's Riot and Mara. I also see you guys talking about how they're not directly correlated. I've seen a few comments about that, and you can't expect them to be directly correlated. Although it makes sense to you, there are still traders involved in this. That's another big reason that you just have to focus on the long, because people are trading this with small market caps. It's very easy for like high frequency traders with a lot of capital to easily play these stocks. All right, and that's why it's very important, especially with these smaller cap. But high potential, high fundamental potential stocks, just to keep strong hands and keep your eyes on the end game. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say there. So I'm expecting at least personally an $8 ride by the end of October, and a best case scenario like a $13 to $15 ride by the end of October. So we'll see if that plays out. Remember, you guys could absolutely not. I don't know, but my money's on it. I'm bullish, and I hope you guys are as well. So as always, you guys, if you have any questions or concerns or any other plays that you're excited about right now, if you made some money on Polkadot, or again, if there's anything at all you guys are excited about within this space, please let me know in the comments down below. Always love learning from you guys. Always love talking shop. Once again, if you guys do want to know my precise trades, not only in this sector, but all sectors, I like biotechs, I like gold, silver right now as well. Complete portfolio, daily newsletter, first link in the description. All call options, all put options, all cryptocurrencies. And you get a newsletter in your inbox every day about the trades I made that day, rationalizing my thoughts about those trades, and just giving you guys my general thoughts on the markets overall. So again, first link in the description. I really appreciate it if you check it out. If not, no worries. The 7-day free trial does end at the end of this month. So if you just want to check it out and then bail, that's perfectly fine. Just check it out, and yeah, I appreciate it. If not, no worries. And until next time, you guys, always remember, take action, make waves. Peace.